Right now, Claude Code is scanning my entire codebase for security vulnerabilities, and I didn't have to lift a finger. This is running on a schedule completely on its own. Every day at midnight, this routine wakes up, it audits my codebase for any security vulnerabilities against the OWASP top 10, and it automatically creates a pull request to fix any issues. Anthropic just released this feature, and it's called Claude Code Routines. It's completely changed the way I use Claude Code. In this video, I'll show you how Claude Code Routines work by setting up 2 new routines from scratch. I'll show you how to set up the security audit routine, which you can run every hour, every day, how often you want, and this will automatically identify any security vulnerabilities in your app and fix it for you. And then the second one is a lot of fun. We'll get Claude Code to automatically identify any improvements to our app, make the change, and create a pull request for us. Then we can cherry pick the improvements that we want. And this can be anything from small UI improvements to new functionality in our app that we never thought about. And you definitely want to stick around, as the security audit skill is extremely valuable to any web application, and you can download it for free. I'll even show you how to set it up. Now let's jump in. So what are routines in Claude Code? Well, according to their documentation, a routine is a Claude Code automation you configure once, including a prompt, a repo, and connectors. And you can then run on a schedule from an API call or in a response to an event. Simply put, a routine is nothing more than a prompt that we can give to Claude Code that gets fired off when certain events happen. Now, that event could be a schedule, like, every hour, maybe once a day. That prompt should be executed. Or it could be an event from an external system. For example, when we merge a new pull request with our main branch in GitHub, that event could fire off the prompt as well. Now, of course, just giving a prompt to Claude Code is not good enough. It needs to have access to some kind of code base, right? So all we really have to do is hook up our GitHub repository to that routine, and Claude Code will be able to execute that prompt on that code base, and it will be fired off by a certain event. It really is that simple. So let's have a look at setting up a new routine, and everything will click for you, I promise. I do want to mention that depending on the plan that you're on, you are limited to a certain amount of daily runs. I'm on the max plan, which gives me access to 15 runs a day. And on the pro plan, I do think it's slightly less. It might be 5 runs a day. But that should be perfectly fine for many use cases. So for this demo, I created this sample project, and this is a public repository, so if you do want to clone it and follow along, you are more than welcome to do so. Now, this seems very simple. It's just a to-do app that we can, add to-dos to, and it seems really cool, but it is super simple. And we can definitely use Claude Code Routines to automatically improve this application for us. But more importantly, there's a certain security vulnerability in this code base. If I go to App, API, and let's go to this analytics route, you'll notice that we've actually hard-coded the API keys in this route, which means that anyone who's got access to this repository, and in this case, this is a public repo, so all of you have access to this information. We've just exposed all of these important API keys. And yes, these things do happen. So imagine having an automated process that will identify these issues and inform you or fix it automatically before it becomes a real issue. Now, in order to use routines, we can go to Claude Code Web. And yes, that is one of the benefits of using routines. It doesn't run on your own desktop or laptop. It actually runs in the cloud, which means you can close your machine, you can do whatever. These jobs will run automatically whenever those events fire. Let's go to routines. Then I'll simply hide my face. Let's go to new routine. Let's set up a routine that will automatically improve our application over time. So let's call this Auto Improver, like so. Then we can select our repository, and now we can provide any prompt we want. This is the instruction that will be passed to Claude Code whenever this routine fires. Explore the codebase and identify one meaningful improvement that you can make, whether it's UI, UX, a new feature, performance improvements, a bug, or anything else. Implement the change and create the PR. I'll just add do not merge yet. This is a really fun one. I've actually used it in a lot of my applications, and it's honestly implemented a lot of really cool things that I never even thought about. And we're not touching the main code base yet. We still have an opportunity to review the pull request and merge it ourselves before this change is actually pulled into our application. Of course, we can change the model as well. I'll just go with the new Opus 4.7 model. Then we have to select a trigger. What is going to fire off this routine? We can set this up to run on a schedule, perhaps a GitHub event, like when we merge our changes with the main branch. And we will actually do that for the security audit routine. Or we can also expose this routine as an API endpoint, which means we can call this routine from something like N8N or some third-party application. For this one, we'll just run it on a schedule, and I'll set it to run every hour. And let's add this trigger. Now we can also add connectors. In my case, I added Gmail, and this will allow Claude Code to send emails on my behalf. So perhaps after this change was made, or if it identified a security issue, Claude Code will be able to send me an email. And then all we have to do is create this routine. Cool, this routine is currently active, which means that it will automatically fire off every hour on the hour. Or we can also manually start this routine. Let's do that. I can see the routine running down here, so let's open it up. And now we can see exactly what Claude Code is up to. Keep in mind, this is running on the web, so if I want, I can actually close the session, I can close the browser, shut down my machine, it doesn't matter. This process will continue running. And as I mentioned earlier, Claude is not making changes to the main branch at this stage. It automatically created a separate feature branch, and all the changes are isolated to that branch only. So this is completely safe. Alright, cool. So Claude just went through the code base, and it says, I have a good read on the code base. It's a small Kanban to-do app with create, delete, drag and drop, but no edit feature. I didn't even notice that. So when I click on these cards, I actually can't edit them. That's correct. So that's a very good example. Once a to-do is created, you can only delete and recreate it. That's the most meaningful UX gap to fix. So I'll add click a card to edit it, reuse the existing modal for both create and edit, add escape key to close to the modal as a small bonus. Well, that's really cool. And now Claude is making these changes. Excellent. This Claude Code routine is done, and we can click on View PR. And here we can see the pull request that was just created. Claude added this beautiful summary saying that previously the to-do title, description, and priority were immutable once created. So if you wanted to fix a typo or change the priority, you would actually have to recreate it. Cool. So it added the ability to edit these to-dos. So what I'm going to do now is actually merge this pull request into main. And now if we refresh this app and we click on this card, the modal is shown and we can actually edit this. So let's change this to buy bread. Let's change the priority to high. Let's save this. Done. Everything just works. Now let's have a look at the way more valuable routine. This is a security audit routine. Now I'm not going to trust Claude Code to just simply identify security issues itself. Instead, we'll base it on the OWASP top 10. These are the top 10 most critical web application security risks. And if you are interested, you can actually read through this yourself. But for each of these categories, there's some background, there's a description of the issue, how to prevent it, and example scenarios. So I've actually done all of that work for you already. If you go to this Claude Code Routines GitHub repository, I've created this skill called Security Scanner. Within that folder, there's obviously the main skill.md file, and within the references subfolder, I've captured all the details for each of those 10 OWASP categories. I do want to make it clear that if you want to use skills with Claude Code Routines, you can't use the normal skills that you would find in these conversations. Like, for example, in the normal Claude chat interface, you would usually click on plus, then you would go to skills, and then, upload a skill from here. These will not work in your code repositories. So if you do want to use any skills with routines, you do have to install those skills into the actual code project repository. All right, cool. So now that we've installed our skill, what we can do is create a new routine. Let's give it a name like to do security audit, and we can pass a prompt like use your security scanner skill, so this will invoke that specific skill, to perform a full audit of the app, implement fixes to resolve the security concerns, then create the pull request and merge the PR once all checks have passed. Now, this part is really up to you, whether or not you want to automatically merge the changes. For me personally, if this picks up a security issue, I would want to get that fixed instead of there being a risk of this vulnerability being in the app for the next couple of hours and I get hacked. But if you want to review the PR first, that's totally fine as well. Then let's choose our repo. And again, we can run this on a schedule, like maybe every day. I'm not going to worry about any connectors in this one. So let's simply create this routine. And finally, let's run it. So keep in mind, we've intentionally added a security vulnerability to our application. Just to show you again, in this app folder under API and Analytics, we've hardcoded these API keys in this route. So if the security scanner does its job correctly, it should point out and fix these issues. So let's have a look at this routine. First, we can see the skill was indeed pulled in. If you don't see your skills being used by the routines, then you haven't installed them in the project folder. Then looking at the to-dos, this is going to run the OWASP top 10 to do a security audit on the code base. So it definitely pulled in our skill and it is using that top 10 list. Right, the routine just completed with our audit and it made a few changes. What's really cool about this is if we go back to our code, we now have this audit folder. So if we open this and we look under the folder for this current date, we can view the full security audit report that was just executed. It gives us a little bit of an executive summary, but more importantly, there's a single server route handler at this endpoint. So if we just have a look at this report, it says there's about 75 critical issues in this very simple application. Firstly, we've got broken access control, so authorization header is read but never validated. So that's coming from that route handler as well, by the way. So this little route handler is very, very problematic. We didn't define any course policies in this Next.js application. So as small as this application is, there's actually a lot of potential issues here. And we thought the only issues were these API keys, right? How scary is that? And there's also a potential SQL injection vulnerability in this analytics route as well. So there's definitely a lot wrong with this tiny application. And hopefully you can see how valuable the security audit skill can be for your app. Now this Claude Code routine automatically created the pull request as well, and it automatically merged the fix with our main branch. So effectively all of these issues have been addressed already. And if we go back to this route handler, we can see this code was drastically changed. These API keys will now come from our environment variables, which are secure. So what do you think about Claude Code Routines? Are you going to use this in your projects going forward, especially to do security audits like this one? If you found this video useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers and I would be so grateful to reach that massive milestone. Also, if you would like to take your agentic coding skills to the next level, consider joining my school community, Agentic Labs. I just released the first couple of videos for my Agentic Coding Masterclass, with new videos being added every single day. And by the way, it's only $7 per month for the first 1,000 members, so you definitely don't want to miss out. Again, thank you for your time, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.